Welcome to the Modern Family Rewind, a space for anyone who's ever laughed, cried, or felt way too seen by this iconic show. In this series, we're rewinding all the way back to the beginning and going episode by episode to talk it all through. We'll review each episode, laugh at the moments that still land, cry at the ones that sneak up on you, and unpack the tension, love, and family dynamics that make Modern Family so timeless. This project exists purely because we love this show, but it's also funded by my other company, Happiest Future Group, where we work as money coaches and personal and relationship mentors. So naturally, we'll be paying special attention to the money moments, relationship dynamics, and emotional flashpoints, and acts of love woven throughout the series because that's what we do, and Modern Family gives us plenty to talk about. So let's rewind, press play, and get stuck into episode 1, Pilot. We open with the Dunphy family being introduced, and honestly, it doesn't really take long to understand the chaos we're dealing with here. Claire is already screaming for the kids to come down for breakfast. While I think most parents can relate to that instantly, the day hasn't even properly started, and she's already at about a 7 out of 10. Very on brand for what we expect from Claire in this series too. Hayley comes in first and immediately hits us with what I think has become a pretty well-known line from this early days of the show.
Why are you guys yelling at us when we're way upstairs? Just text me.
It's such a quick moment, but it tells us pretty much exactly who Hayley is, at least right now. She's a teenager, dismissive, glued to her phone, and completely unimpressed by her parents. Claire then tries to rope Phil into helping her tell Hayley that her skirt is too small. And honestly, as someone with a 2-year-old daughter, I'm already laughing at the idea of having those kinds of conversations when she gets older. But Phil, classic Phil, completely misses the assignment and backs Hayley with an enthusiastic, "Oh yeah, that looks cute, sweetie." It's a perfect example of their parenting dynamics though, straight out of the gate. Claire trying to be practical and protective, Phil trying to be supportive, fun, and absolutely not the bad guy. He's just so innocently optimistic. Then Alex comes in and casually mentions that Luke is stuck in the banister again, also known as the guardrail for the stairs. I'm Australian and I've never called it the banister before. But Alex has just absolutely no panic, no urgency. It's just another normal morning in the Dunphy household. Phil heads off to help and asks Claire,
"Where's the baby roll?"
It's our bedside tip. I don't know. Find it.
Now, back in 2009, as a 16-year-old, that joke went completely over my head. But watching it now, you definitely understand it a whole lot more. It's one of those early moments that remind you the show was always written with multiple layers. One for the kids watching, and one for the adults, or even the kids for when they became adults and understand it later on. After that, we get our first cutaway interview scene with Phil and Claire. Now that we've met the Dunphy clan, Phil, Claire, Hayley, Alex, and Luke, this moment really shows us what kind of show Modern Family is going to be. It's that mockumentary style which clicks into place straight away when this cutaway scene happens, very much in the same vein as The Office and Parks and Rec, which, in my opinion, and let's be honest, is probably the best type of TV show there is. And just like that, we're grounded in the tone, the family dynamic, the rhythm of the show, the funny, chaotic, and weirdly familiar scenes that we have in real life. So let's move on from the chaos of the Dunphy household and into the very different kind of family dynamic. Next up, we're introduced to the Pritchards, or more accurately, the Pritchard Delgado family. We meet them at Manny's soccer game where Gloria is absolutely screaming from the sidelines like the most stereotypical animated Columbia mum you can imagine. She is loud, passionate, and fully invested in every second of the game. Meanwhile, Jay couldn't care less. He's there physically, but emotionally not so much. Still, he is there to support Manny.
Manny, go! La derecha. No. He tripped him, Jay. Where's the penalty?
Gloria, they're 0-6. Let's take it down a notch.
That moment alone kind of perfectly sums up the contrast between these two already. Gloria is all heart and volume, and Jay is blunt, dry, and he's brutally honest, which I love. We then cut to Jay and Gloria's first interview scene, where they talk about just how different they are as a couple. This is also where we get our first real hint at Gloria's language barrier, which, as you would know if you've watched Modern Family, becomes a really big and lovable part of the show and her character. It's funny, but it also immediately shows us that communication in this relationship is going to be interesting. Well, not even in only this relationship, but Gloria's relationship with everyone, especially Phil. But again, we'll get to that later. Back at the soccer game, Manny gets distracted by a girl riding past on her bike, and while his attention drifts, the other team scores. Cue the drama. One of the mums starts ripping into the coach for not benching Manny, and Gloria immediately jumps in and scolds her, which honestly, any parent would do if another parent was talking smack about their kid. Jay steps in and tries to calm Gloria down, clearly aware that this situation could escalate fast if left unchecked. Then things take another turn when one of the other kids' dads starts flirting with Gloria and calls Jay her dad. Jay tries to defend himself, but in true comedy fashion, it doesn't quite land. Instead, he ends up struggling to get out of his chair, turning what should be a moment for Jay to outline he is Gloria's husband, which he's proud of, into an unintentionally physical gag that feels painfully on brand for Jay being seen as the old man, which is an insecurity of his later in this episode in particular, and in some others in the future. And just like that, we're shown exactly who these two are: a fiery, protective mum and a gruff but slightly insecure older husband, and a family dynamic that's already full of tension, humour, and plenty of heart. We're then introduced to the final branch of the family tree, the Pritchett-Tucker household. The scene opens with Mitch sitting on a plane, having just returned home after adopting Lily. It's a quiet moment at first, it's almost calm, and then a man nearby innocently says, "You and your wife must be so proud." And right on cue, brilliantly timed, in comes Cam. Cam is, for a lot of people, an absolute favourite character from the show. He's awesome. He's big, expressive, emotional, and he's pretty much completely unapologetic for about everything he does. Cam sits down next to Mitch in the middle seat, and immediately they start getting a few awkward looks from the people around them. It's uncomfortable to watch, and honestly, it kind of sucks, especially knowing this is meant to be such a happy moment for them. Mitch talks to Cam about how much he hates the judgment and how angry it makes him. That frustration starts to bubble over, and when a woman nearby says something that tips him over the edge, Mitch begins lecturing the entire plane. But just as Mitch is fully in his moment, Cam stops him because Lily actually has cream puffs.
Hi. Look at that baby with those cream puffs.
Okay, excuse me, but this baby would have grown up in a crowded orphanage if it wasn't for us cream puffs. And to all of you who judge, hear this. Love knows no race, creed, or gender. And shame on you, you small-minded, ignorant few. What?
She's got the cream puffs.
Oh.
We would like to pay for everyone's headsets.
It completely undercuts the tension in the most modern family way possible. A serious point is being made, but it's wrapped in humour, timing, and a layer of softness. It's such a perfect introduction to Mitch and Cam. Real issues, real emotions, and real love. All balanced with comedy that never lets things get too heavy for too long. Okay, back to the Dunphy chaos we go. We return to Phil trying to get Luke out of the railguard. In the middle of that, Haley casually drops the news that she's having a boy come over later today. No big announcement, no context, she's just straight out and very casual about it. Naturally, Claire has a few questions, as any parent would. To be fair, she actually handles herself pretty well here. She remains really calm, she's got some reasonable questions, and she's not being the overbearing Claire that we do come to love. But Haley's a teenage girl, and there are already nerves around this whole moment happening today as it is. So the absolute last thing she wants to do is talk to her parents about it. Then we get what is probably one of the best summaries of Phil Dunphy for the entirety of the show.
I'm the cool dad. That's my thing. I'm hip. I surf the web. I text. LOL. laugh out loud, OMG, oh my God, WTF, why the face? I know all the dances to High School Musical, so. We're all in this together. Yes, we are. We're all stars. That means something, you know it.
God, I love that scene. It perfectly captures Phil's desperate need to be the cool dad, his optimism, and his complete lack of awareness of how uncool he is seen to be, which of course makes him even better. And let's be honest, I think there's a lot of people out there that would have loved to have a dad like Phil. Then, the moment is immediately undercut when Luke accidentally shoots Alex with his BB gun. They come running inside, screaming for their parents, and Claire instantly tells Phil to deal with it. Phil's response, buddy, uncool, which is obviously not dealing with it. Claire calls him out straight away, reminding him that they had an agreement. If Luke shoots someone, Phil would shoot him back. And as ridiculous as that sounds, the conversation quickly turns into something very real. Following through. As parents, if you say you're going to do something, you have to mean it. And that's a huge thing to navigate, especially when it comes to discipline. Then, like all families, juggling a million things at once, we're reminded of the never-ending schedule of life. Between schools, activities, and incidents involving the BB gun, the best rule, look at the calendar. So naturally, they put Luke's shooting plan on the calendar, because if he didn't write it down, did it even happen?
Oh,
He's got a birthday party.
What's more important here, Dad?
you can shoot him afterwards. He'll be home at 2.
I can't shoot him at 2. I'm showing a house at 2.
What about 3?
No, he's got a soccer game at 3, and then, we gotta leave for that dinner thing at 5. 4:15, you could shoot him at 4:15.
Yeah, I guess that works for me.
Shoot Luke.
Sorry, dude, it's on the calendar.
Oh, come on.
We head back to the soccer field with Gloria and Manny climbing into the car alongside Jay. Once they're in the car, Jay gently tells Gloria that she could have left it alone with the other parent. It's a small comment, but it's an important one. Couples should be able to talk about each other's reactions or just actions, especially after a moment like that. My rule is, agree in public, disagree in private. There are layers to that, of course, but that's the basic rule across the board that we use. And that's exactly what Jay has done here. He didn't undermine Gloria in front of anyone, but he also doesn't just let it slide either. Manny then announces that he wants to tell the girl that went past on her bike during the soccer game that he loves her. Jay responds by giving Manny some very straightforward advice about declaring his love to a 16-year-old girl. It's blunt, it's practical, and it's very Jay. But Manny breezes straight past it, completely unfazed, which isn't uncommon for Manny at all. He has endless confidence, as Gloria would say, an old soul, and a romantic optimism that doesn't really bend to logic or age, clearly. We then cut back to Cam and Mitch as they arrive home with Lily. Almost immediately, Mitch says that Lily needs a woman's touch. It's one of those comments that Mitch probably could have handled a little bit better, especially given how touchy that subject is for Cam. It's not a huge moment, but it's enough to remind us that even in loving relationships, words can land differently than intended. They then head into Lily's room, where we're introduced to the absolute awesome painting that is on Lily's wall. It's bold, it's dramatic, and it's very Cam. After that, we get a really strong moment between Cam and Mitch. Cam, and I don't want to say calls him out, but he kind of does, gently points out then Mitch's avoidance issues when it comes to his family. In this case, it's about telling them that they're adopting a baby. Cam approaches it with so much understanding and patience, and you can see how relieved Mitch feels when he's finally saying it out loud. But then comes a little twist. Cam tells Mitch that he's already invited his family over. To be fair, in my opinion, this is the right thing to do, especially in this scenario. Mitch needs to tell his family they've adopted a baby. It's a huge moment for them, and delaying it achieves nothing, especially when you're so close as a group of 3 different families here. Sometimes love looks just like a gentle push forward, even when it's uncomfortable. And once again, the show balances humour with real relationship dynamics in a way that feels honest and familiar. We head back to the Dunphy house just as Dylan arrives and knocks on the door. Hayley immediately yells out for no one to answer it, and she insists she'll get it herself. But classic Claire rushes to the door anyway, because of course she does. A little side note here, if you didn't know, Julie Bowen, who plays Claire, was about, I think I saw it was 7 or 8 months pregnant when she was filming this pilot episode. That's why pretty much in every scene, she's strategically covering her stomach with something. In this moment, it's the blanket that she's folding up. And if you rewatch the episode, now that I've told you that, you'll see it in all the moments that she's in, essentially. It's just a small fun fact I remember seeing a while ago, but thought it would be cool to share. Dylan, though, is unsurprisingly super awkward, which is pretty much standard for any teenage boy visiting his girlfriend's house for the first time. Luckily for him, Phil steps in. Phil immediately goes into full Phil mode, trying to establish some sort of dominance by stepping higher up than Dylan on the stairs. Unfortunately, he slips on the baby oil still there from getting Luke out earlier, and the whole thing backfires spectacularly. Dylan ends up picking Phil up, placing him on the couch, and before Phil can really recover or get comfortable, Hayley drags Dylan straight upstairs, and Claire, meanwhile, just leaves Phil right where he is. It's a real perfect physical comedy moment, awkward, chaotic, and it's very, very Dunphy. We then shift back to Manny at the mall, who now has a poem written for the girl he likes. He's fully committed to the gesture, but Jay tries to talk him out of it. From Jay's perspective, it's just practical advice. Protect yourself, don't put your heart out there like that to a girl who's far older than you. From Manny's perspective, though, it's simply not how he operates. Jay and Gloria then share a really beautiful moment together. Gloria gently reaches out to Jay and asks him why he's in such a bad mood. And Jay responds with that no, said in that very specific way people say no when they very clearly mean yes. And of course, Gloria catches it straight away. She suggests getting him some younger clothes after the guy at the soccer thought he was her dad, trying to help him feel better about himself, which Jay naturally turns down. This here is peak Jay. The tough guy, I don't care what anyone thinks persona that he wears so comfortably. And honestly, early on, we love it. But Jay is one of my favourite characters, and he arguably has one of the biggest character arcs across the entire show. Gloria then tells Jay how much she loves him and that they need to talk about being so hard on Manny. She shares a Colombian quote with him, which Jay, unsurprisingly, doesn't understand. Then Manny soon comes back, clearly upset after being rejected. Yet Gloria immediately tells him that what he did was brave, which is absolutely the right way to handle it. She then looks to Jay for support. Jay gives him something sort of between support and not really. When he says, "You'll know better next time," it lands somewhere between comfort and tough love. To finish the moment, they go off to get a pretzel, and the mall security guard asks Jay to stay to the right, just like they do for all the mall walkers. And that's all it takes. Jay immediately ducks into the nearest store to buy some younger clothes right as the mall walkers go past him. We then cut to Hayley yelling at Alex to get out of the room while she's watching a movie in bed with Dylan. Claire supports Hayley, but at the same time, kind of uses Alex to figure out what's going on upstairs. Alex tells her like it's nothing. Claire takes a moment to process it, as any parent would. You can almost see the internal panic mixed with forced calm as she tries to figure out what to do next. Now, I've spoken to many clients and parents who we've worked with through personal relationship mentoring around their kids and how they act or acted when moments like this come up or came up. Claire's reaction here is so common and so fair. We then quickly move outside where Luke is getting ready to be shot by Phil. In preparation, Luke has put on as many layers of clothes as he physically can. It's equal parts ridiculous and Luke. Back inside, Alex starts scaring Claire by talking about Hayley getting pregnant, which pushes Claire right to the edge. And then Claire fires back with one of the most relatable lines for any parent early in the show.
Hayley is not getting pregnant.
Just say yes.
I know, and I know you like to make trouble for your sister, but it's not going to work this time. You know why? Because your sister's a good girl. I know. I was just like her when I was...
We then cut back to Phil, who talks about how this is an important lesson for Luke, even though he clearly doesn't fully know how or why himself. He definitely doesn't know how to explain it to Luke either, but he's committed to the idea that they'll let Hayley's room with clothes to put away and doesn't knock. Just a quick note on that. Just knock. If they were doing something bad, you'd be able to tell, trust me. But honestly, every kid has had to deal with their mum or dad walking into the room without knocking at some point. Cut back to Phil and Luke, who admits he can't shoot Luke, only to accidentally shoot him anyway. Dunphy chaos kicks in again. Haley asks Claire what she's doing and if she can shut the door on her way out. Claire says no, and then hits her with a moment from her own teenage years. Luke then says he thought Phil was his friend, which is hilarious, until Haley runs outside to Phil and says he needs to talk to Mum because she has gone crazy. Then the chaos peaks when Phil shoots Dylan in the neck with the BB gun before shooting himself. We head back to Mitch and Cam, where they talk about Jay not being entirely comfortable with them, or with his son being gay in general. This discomfort is pretty common throughout the first half of the series, but it also becomes one of Jay's biggest character developments. And if you haven't seen it, just wait till you get to the wedding. Mitch complains to Cam about putting him in this situation, but Cam tells him to get in the spirit. And again, Cam is right. This is a wonderful moment for them as a family, and it deserves to be treated as such, not avoided or delayed. Everyone starts arriving for dinner, and Jay shows up dressed in younger clothes. And then we get...
Gloria, hi. How are you? Hi,
Hi, Gloria. How are you? Oh, a beautiful dress.
I thank you, Phil.
Okay.
No,
Well, that
hey,
is-
Phil. That's how she says Phil, not feel.
Oh.
Phil.
It's so good. It's so iconic, really. Mitch finally tries to tell everyone they adopted a baby, but he keeps getting derailed by moments from the day and by insecurities, especially from his sister Claire and his dad Jay. You can feel how hard he's trying to hold the moment together while everything keeps pulling him off course. Things spiral when everyone briefly thinks that Cam and Mitch have broken up. Phil is the one who brings everyone back to reality, then Mitch finally snaps, defending both himself and Cam from the insults and assumption, and that's when we get...
By the way, it's not that dramatic. And he adopted a baby. Her name is Lily.
Oh, exciting.
Just turn it off.
I can't turn it off. It's who I am.
The music.
Yes, the music.
Iconic. It's so iconic. In that moment, all the tension and insults just melt away. Everyone remembers what actually matters here. Family. Jay is unsure at first, and you can see it all over his face. But to his credit, he swallows his pride and gives a small, very patriarchal speech to the family. He even adds in Gloria's quote from earlier, which no one understands. Of course, Jay and Mitch also share a moment. It's quiet, but it's very meaningful. It's beautiful and honestly an incredible first episode. Then we get a small scene to the end of the episode where Phil makes sure Luke knows who the boss is when it comes to sports, or at least until he can't anymore. And as a dad, I love that scene. I can't wait to dominate my kids in sport until they just kick my ass. But that's the first episode of Modern Family and the first episode of our Modern Family Rewind. In just one pilot episode, we're introduced to 3 different households, each dealing with love, insecurities, identity, parenting, pride, a connection in their own messy, imperfect ways. It's funny, it's chaotic, and somehow it already feels so familiar. Like you know these people, or you've been these people. What makes this episode so special isn't just the jokes, though they absolutely land. It's how clearly the heart of the show is established right from the start. At its core, Modern Family isn't about getting it right. It's just about showing up, trying your best and loving each other through the awkward, uncomfortable, and unexpected moments. This pilot sets the tone for everything that comes next. Big character arcs are quietly planted, family dynamics are laid bare, and the theme of love, communication, and belonging are already woven into the story from the very first episode. So take a breath, let that sink in, and get ready, because next time we rewind again and dive into episode 2, and things can only get more layered from here. So thanks for tuning in. Don't forget to jump on our socials as well and follow us there. We'll put the links below for you. Also, if you could support our business page that helps pay for creating all of this, Happiest Future Group, we'll get that linked below as well. Anyway, see you next time for episode 2.